The auxiliary verb must is used to express necessity or obligation. So again, it is very special to be used in a sentence to make it grammatically correct that this has a meaning of necessity and obligation, and therefore the auxiliary verb must is being used. For example, you must improve your spelling. So whatever is being said as a necessity. It is an obligation that the spellings must be improved. We must get up early. Again, it is something which is very important and necessary to do. Usually must is used in the sentences which are making rules and regulations. Therefore, it has a lot of emphasis that this has to be done as obligatory. I must follow a diet plan. In this sentence, it is not really making up of a rule, but it is more of a determination. But at the same time, it can sound as a rule if somebody says it to the group of people, you all must follow a diet plan. So in that case, it becomes more of a rule. But in this case, when the first person is using it, it becomes more of an obligation on the part of the speaker who is saying it, and therefore it can be taken as more of a determination than of making a rule. Living in such crowded conditions must be difficult. Using it in a sentence like this one, which is actually suggesting that these things could be difficult, then it is being emphasized by the use of must, that the result of doing something must be resulting in such a consequence. So again, it is not really the use of must which is making a rule or trying to talk about some regulations which are obligatory, but it is talking about a supposition or something that is going to happen or something which is prevailing and is difficult, and there is the possibility is at the maximum level to happen, and then also we will be using the auxiliary must in order to emphasize that the outcome of this action has to be like this. It has to be more confirmed that it is going to result in this output because the situation is bad, because living in such crowded conditions would not really help people, rather it would be difficult. So in order to emphasize on such a condition, the auxiliary verb must is being used. So by looking at the use of the auxiliary verb must, we come to know that although must is used to express necessity or obligation, and things which are obligatory, things which are compulsory, things which are being followed as rules, at the same time there is some flexibility, but at the same time we are using the auxiliary verb must to show both the situations, some sort of a flexibility, but some sort of a obligation associated with this flexibility. Like for example, talking about your own health, usually we use the word must as an auxiliary because we know that it is the best option for us, and therefore we are determined to do it, and therefore we use the word must, that this is very, very important for us. Also, talking about situations in which things can be flexible, but we are aware of the consequences of these things, then we use the word must in order to signify that this is something we should be doing in order to avoid further problems. Like for example, when we talk about the traffic, then we say, I must drive carefully, otherwise I will be lost in this traffic. So that means I am putting down a rule for myself. I am showing my determination by using the word must. I can also say I should drive carefully. But when I say I must drive carefully, that means I am laying down a rule for myself which I consider to be very important and obligatory, and I do want to express that feeling of my being careful in driving my car, because I think it is going to result consequently, which will be probably an accident or some kind of tragic loss for myself.